I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackHere.com, and today we're going to install a set of Woodcraft axle sliders on a 2011 to 18 Suzuki GSX-R600 or 750. Okay, the Woodcraft axle sliders are a pretty cool part. They developed a few years back. They're available for most current model bikes. Now, you can see I've already got them installed on Jimmy's 750. If you want to see the full install, watch the second half of the video. I'm going to go through each one of the steps, but we're going to hit you with the cliff notes right now. When Eric designed this, he didn't want to do something that was going to really increase the time it took to change the tires. This is all quick release stuff. Biggest tips are going to be this. When you install the plastic puck, you'll note there's a through hole all the way through the puck. One is marked with that little hole drilled. The other one is not. Another way to tell which end should go where is the hole where it's tight when the pin passes through should be on the top or by the ring. The hole where it's loose should be on the bottom. The reason behind that's really simple. You want this spring-loaded ball that locks it in place to be able to expand out all the way. If the hole is tight, it's going to keep it compressed. That's no bueno, you could lose your stuff. Simple install. If you're going to safety wire, we talk about that in the second half of the video too. You want to kind of wire over and pull down. Let's go over and take a look at the clutch side. Okay, over to the clutch side. One of the big things that they wanted to preserve was time to change the tire. He didn't want to have axle sliders that really extended that process. So you can see clearly this is already installed on the bike. You're going to pull your axle nut, you pull your pin like so, and then the mount for that simply replaces your axle nut. So in the end, you've changed the tool that you're going to use. I'm using a 19 mil socket to do this instead of the traditional sized axle socket for the Suzuki. End of the day, most people aren't even going to use the axle tool on the other side, so there's really no need to pull that axle slider out at all. You're just going to use that to grab onto the axle and pull it right out. So I think they definitely accomplished their goal of preserving the tire change process and not really adding any time to that. You can see this has changed the process very little. Solid end result. This part is available for most common sport bikes like we talked about. The Yamahas, the Suzukis, the Kawasaki's, the Hondas. This is a pretty cool piece because if you happen to have a crash on the racetrack, it's definitely going to work to protect the axles in the event of the crash, fork bottoms, all that. If you want more details, stay tuned for the second part. I'm going to go through each step of the install. Okay, we're going to start on the brake side of the bike. You can see I've already pulled the puck off of the mount. This is going to slide into the axle. There's a really important note here. This is a precision fit. That fits right tight, but it's not snug. If you go to push this in your axle and you're like, oh man, it doesn't want to go in there, don't go get your big hammer and start hitting it. Don't do that. That could distort and deform your axle, and you're going to have problems getting the axle in and out. You don't want to do that. So if you have trouble getting this in there initially, I want you to stop. I want you to get a file and clean up the burrs that are inside the axle, preventing it from sliding right in. Once we've done that, get this slid in. We want to orient everything so that when we're done, the pin is going to be pretty much straight up and down. And the next time he does a tire change or something, if he wants to get more particular, make it perfect, he can do that. Once I have that into position, we're going to go ahead and use a 6 mil Allen, and we're going to torque that down like so. The slider puck, this is a really important note. I want to show you this. You can see that one of the holes that's drilled through has a very small hole underneath it to mark which one of these should be the bottom, or the hole where the part of the pin that has that spring-loaded ball slides through. This is simple stuff. The top hole should be tight, very snug fit. The bottom hole should be loose. The reason behind that is you want to allow that ball to push out all the way, because that is what's going to keep the puck on the motorcycle. We'll slide this into position like so. Push that through, and that's locked in there really nicely. Now, let's talk safety wire. Let's say if your tech inspector wants these safety wire. If they have any concern for the puck falling out or perhaps the mount inside, what you can do with this is safety wire the ring. You could safety wire it down to this pinch bolt, and you want to do this in such a way where it's going to pull on it, okay? Like it would tighten things up. So safety wire this, probably over to your pinch bolt would be perfect. So there is your brake side install. Okay, now we're on the clutch side. Little different, right? Same puck concept. This is going to replace your axle nut. If your motorcycle has a washer on the other side of the stock axle nut, we want you to reuse that, okay? This particular model does not. So we're going to take the axle nut off. If you prefer to use a torque wrench, go ahead and Google the spec. Feel free to torque this down. That is up to you. And now we're going to take and install the mount. Get that torque down. Once again, it's important that you orient this properly, okay? So that needs to be down. Smaller hole at the top, larger hole at the bottom. Slide that over. Your pin goes through. If you want a safety wire, you can do that as well. If you were going to safety wire this one, once again, you're trying to think about, trying to keep everything tight, all that kind of stuff. What I might do with this is perhaps safety wire here, pull it under here, and then wire it up to that pinch bolt. There you go. This is the axle slider install from Woodcraft. These are removable. Okay, so in the end, when you do this, you're not really changing the amount of time it's going to take to change tires. Okay, the way Eric designed these, it's quick release. It's really not in the way at all. You're going to use a different size socket to get your axle nut off in the end, but for the most part, everything else is going to remain the same. This install covers the 2011 through 2018 GSX-R600 and 750. I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com.